Good morning, folks. Today is Thursday, July 17th. Hard to believe the July is halfway over already. Today we're going to start off with the tropics, the potential AL93 development in the Gulf of Mexico, which is looking less likely right now. Then we're going to go over current conditions and the hazards that are going to be overspreading the United States in the next 7 days or so. Going to go over future radar, upper level flow pattern, and the temperatures for the upcoming week as well. Anyway, this is 93L. It's pretty impressive, doesn't it? Well, yeah, it kind of does, but the low level center is way off. Not way off, but to the east of where this convection is here. Whoops. Anyway, the convection, there's a lot of divergence aloft here to the west of where the low level center is. And that's why we're seeing a lot of convection here. So if we look at the National Hurricane Center outlook, they've reduced the chance of formation 30%. And given that how close it is to land and how much time it has left to do anything, I mean, there's still a possibility it could become a tropical depression, but really the impacts will be the same regardless. The biggest impacts are going to be heavy rain in the next 3 days or so along the Gulf Coast. This is played out well. It's depicted well in the model output this morning. This is the super ensemble models showing maybe a weak low pressure system right off the Gulf Coast, moving on shore sometime tomorrow. European ensembles agree with that solution. Maybe a little bit of stronger low pressure, but nothing extraordinary. Tropical depression maybe. And the GFS is the least bullish of the three. Has a few members that it has appearing on the screen here. So that's likely why National Hurricane Center has not really been too bullish on this developing into something. It's been over land a lot, and it's been interacting with land and dry air and shear, and it's just not going to have enough time to develop. So we're going to focus on the hazards as a result of it, which is a result of the moisture coming on shore, which is going to be flooding. All right, so here we have our current hazards for today. Flood watches in these areas along the Gulf Coast, Ohio Valley to Maryland, West Virginia, heat advisories in lower Mississippi Valley, on the east coast of the U.S., and a flood watch in northern New Mexico, and some red flag warnings, and looks like, I don't really tell what that is up there, but it looks like a heat advisory in Oregon, or Washington State, excuse me. Some severe thunderstorm warnings and some flash flood warnings still here in the middle of the country. So Next segment, we're going to kind of drill down on the excessive rainfall and the heat impacts over the nation in the next 7 days. So this is the current radar, guys, and wanted to overlay this with the hazards here. We got our tropical system possibly developing, but chances are decreasing. We have a lot of areas of heavy rain right now over the middle part of the country and exiting the northern Great Lakes uh, with numerous flood warnings, sort of thunderstorm warnings going on in the Kansas City area, and it looks like this is going to continue. Um, this rain is it's really moving slow and it's pretty heavy. So that being said, let's look at the Weather Prediction Center system rainfall outlook for today, and this is overlaid again with the mesoscale discussions and the flood warnings and things like that. So you have a broad swath of slight risk in that area up into the Great Lakes, which is probably this is probably not looked as good till 12Z today, which is 8 a.m. And in the northeast corridor, Mid-Atlantic, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and along the Gulf Coast. So I want to go back to the Weather Prediction Center site real quick and see. This is good till 12Z today. So yeah, this is the outlook from. So I'm going to stay on this page here. It's a little bit easier to follow. So you get your slight risk on the Gulf Coast today. This is till 12Z. And then today's overall outlook after 12Z, which is 8 a.m., a broad swath across the middle of the country to the Mid-Atlantic. Marginal risk of flooding in the Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire, and a small moderate risk on the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Mississippi border area, and a broad slight risk and marginal risk above that. And a slight risk, this is tomorrow around 8 a.m. to Saturday 8 a.m. excessive rainfall. You see a slight area moving off the Mid-Atlantic and the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, a large marginal risk. And the southwest into the west of the Rockies, which is kind of unusual. Day 3, that slight risk goes back up into the northeast corridor again. Mid-Atlantic corridor, really, in the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, large marginal risk. In these other areas, a pretty wide swath of marginal risk of excessive rainfall. And I'm going to reiterate that means that you can see down here risk of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a point to the right of a line. So if you look in the marginal risk area, 5% chance of exceeding flash flood guidance, and that's based on how much it's rained previously, how saturated the ground is, and things like that, and what the, climatologically speaking, the moisture in the atmosphere compared to normal. Is expected. This is ending today at 6 a.m., which is, 8 a.m., a few hours from now. The most is along the Gulf Coast, possibly coming on shore a little bit. Then you have your 24 hours, we have a square bullseye. This is ending Friday, tomorrow at 2 a.m. Up to 2, possibly 4 inches in the next 24 hours or so. 48 hours, you can see where the most precip is expected along the Louisiana coastline, and hence the moderate risk of excessive rainfall. And as we look at the temps over the coming days, the northern tier of the United States is cool off some, but it warms up pretty quickly. It stays quite hot in a good portion of the country, with heat building back in the high plains, upper Midwest, Great Plains, Ohio Valley, with only some relief along the Northeast Corridor and the upper Midwest, and heat building back again with a lot of temps reaching at or above 100 degrees. We don't have a day 7, but yeah, so the heat's going to continue. And with the high moisture content in the atmosphere, likely heat index values are going to be quite high. And I'll look at that real quickly next. That I show a lot, kind of highlights where the biggest heat impacts are. Pretty much relegated mostly to the east of the Mississippi today. Tomorrow, kind of expanding westward on Saturday. This is pretty hot. If you have an extreme heat risk in southeast Georgia, that's saying something, because it's based on climatology too, where what people are really used to in this sort of time. And here in Georgia, we're used to hot weather in the summer, but that's pretty telling on how hot it'll feel out there. So it's going to remain quite hot for and expand westward to most of the eastern part of the country, except for the Northeast Corridor in Virginia and Mid-Atlantic down to North Carolina. Then it pushes back eastward again, with the biggest threat being in the Mississippi Valley area by next Wednesday. So not a lot of relief for the Ohio Valley into the southeast. This time of year is pretty much hot all the time. Ohio, Iowa area, Nebraska, parts of South Dakota, Minnesota, tornado risk. There's a 2% risk. Southwest, southeast South Dakota, northeast Iowa, northwest Iowa, northeast Nebraska, and southwest Minnesota. Wind, 2%, 5% risk. Parts of Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, and along the Mid-Atlantic coast, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland. Hail, upper Midwest, the same area we just talked about with wind, a little bit smaller area there. So we go to day 3, which is only allowed categorical marginal risk, kind of bisecting North Dakota, Montana, South Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. And day 3, that's all you're going to get is categorical probabilistic output. This is a low risk day as of right now. They may bump it up as we move closer, but that's where we're at right now. Lastly, I'm going to go over the Alright, so this is the future radar. I'm going to go back a couple of mile runs. This is the convection allowing model, which is a high resolution rapid refresh depiction of what it thinks convection is going to look like over the next 48 hours. Move forward in time. You see the convection associated with the broad area low pressure coming ashore, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the upper Midwest, and in the middle part of the country, which is in the areas we talked about. The majority of the precip is going to be along the Gulf Coast, upper Midwest, moving into the Mid-Atlantic. It's like maybe a pretty strong line of storms moving through by tomorrow evening. And where we talked about the flooding risk out here in the west of the Rockies, which is kind of unusual. We have a line of storms moving through the headed towards the Great Lakes, which this model shows us to be quite strong. By the end of the day, late at night on the 19th, it's 060 on 19th, which is around midnight on the 18th. So general theme, for the southeast, it doesn't look like there's going to be a heck of a lot of rain in the next 48 hours with low precip chances. And the rest of the country kind of bisected by the rain here and in the upper Midwest and west of the Rockies in the next couple of days. Well, folks, that's it for today. I kind of fumbled through this today. I didn't sleep too good last night, so I appreciate y'all listening in and hope y'all have a good day.